The first time I drove a Chevy Tahoe was during a family trip to Los Angeles. Now, I was so happy to drive the Chevy Tahoe back then because it was huge, imposing, and it felt so at home in Los Angeles freeways. Now, driving the Chevy Tahoe Z71 here on Manila roads, well, pare, that's a totally different experience. So stick around because I'm going to tell you all about it. Let's do this. The Chevrolet Tahoe may be an ordinary family SUV in the States, but here in the Philippines, it is the stuff of legend. Driving the Tahoe around tight Philippine roads is a surefire way to make a statement since it is quite rare to see such a behemoth on our roads. Of course, such exclusivity also comes at a cost since this Chevy Tahoe Z71 trim retails for 7,702,888 Philippine pesos. Now, you can blame the high import taxes from the US for that. So while the Tahoe Z71 can deliver a lot of car, can it justify its asking price, especially at a time of right-sizing and fuel efficiency? Or is this a case of being too big and too pricey for its own good? Let's find out. Here at Reagan's Rides, we do car reviews of SUVs, sports cars, trucks, and everything in between. So subscribe and hit the bell. Okay, so let me address the big white elephant in the room, the price. I mean, nearly 7.8 million Philippine pesos. True pare, there are other full-size SUV options out there that are more affordable than the Chevrolet Tahoe, but none of them offers the same amount of space and road presence that the Tahoe can give. This, my friends, is the largest full-size SUV that you can get from an authorized dealer here in the Philippines, and it has the road presence to back it up. You don't just look rich when you're driving the Chevrolet Tahoe. You also exude power on the road. You know, you look like you're a powerful politician or a military man or something like that. Now, that higher price, that 7.8 million Philippine peso price tag that this vehicle commands, yeah, pare, that means that this vehicle also commands a certain level of exclusivity and snootiness when it comes to driving the Tahoe around, especially here in the Philippines. It's like you're saying you don't give a damn about practicality because pare, you can afford it. You don't need to look at the price tag because you can well afford it. It's like saying you bought a more practical Rolls Royce, if you think about it, you know? Also, driving something this big, all the other cars around you will naturally make way for you. Like, you know, like Moses parting the Red Sea. Now, that's something that the more common full-size SUVs in the Philippines can't really give you. Another thing that most other full-size SUVs cannot give is the sound and feel of a true blue American V8. You see, the Tahoe is powered by a 5.3-liter Ecotec V8 engine which can pump out 355 horses and 518 Newton meters of torque. We've got all motor goodness here and it sounds really, really good. Check this out. Woo! Oh yeah, man, there goes 10 liters of gasoline. Wow! Pare, that sounds like a proper V8. I mean, the power delivery is smooth and linear, and that's because we have a smooth shifting 10-speed automatic here. Now, I was in sport mode, and in sport mode, you can really hustle and accelerate the Tahoe, and you know, it really goes fast for such a big car, although I would highly advise against it, because if you use sport mode all the time, you'll probably need to fill up this car a lot more frequently than you'd want, because yeah, that's short burst, pare. Let's try it again. Oh, okay, that's 100. That short burst, yeah, as I said, would probably cost me around 10 liters of gasoline. Now, when it comes to the overall drive feel, well, the Tahoe doesn't hide its size at all. You know, it's not ashamed of being a big boy. You see, guys, I've driven the Nissan Patrol Royale and the LC200, not the LC3, but the LC200, but it's only this Tahoe that I felt like I was driving a massive vehicle. I mean, dude, when you look out front, there in front of you, you have a hood that's as big as the state of Montana right there in front of you. It's a big white plane. And yes, this is a white Chevy Tahoe. Now, with this, with this size and this height, you have to be careful when you're navigating this Chevrolet Tahoe Z71 around tight city streets, especially here in Manila, because there are a lot of small motorcycles that would want to creep up on you on your blind spot, especially on the right side of your hood, and it's hard to see them. You know, when they first drove this vehicle, it really overwhelmed me at first. I mean, it's so massive. But once I got used to it, yeah, it's actually a pretty easy car to drive. The steering is nicely weighted. It's not overboosted like some of the other American brands out there. And yeah, we have a really good response for your steering feel. Now, we also have a very tall vantage point. As my cameraman said, our sitting position, Jay, di ba? We're almost as tall as the bus drivers, no? Yeah, our sitting position is almost as tall as the bus drivers that are beside us. So, yes, you have a very tall vantage point here. So, visibility is not going to be an issue. Just mind your blind spots, because being a massive vehicle, it does have a few blind spots here and there. Now, the seats are also quite comfortable as expected from an American SUV, though I would wish that we got like ventilated seats here, because we don't. We only have heated seats here, so yeah, that's a little bit of a bummer. Now, as for the front end design, the Chevy Tahoe Z71 shares the same design language as the larger Chevy Suburban and even the Chevy Silverado. We have a massive front grille here that has been broken in two by this piano black center line right there with the bow tie badge, a black bow tie badge in fact, and we also have a Z71 badge here. And the way that they did it is they broke it in two so that it doesn't really look that big. You know, it broke the visual mass of this front mug. Now, pare, that seems to work, especially with the design of the LED DRLs here that also doubles as your turn signals, and the slimmer LED headlight units. See, it works because if you view it from afar, yeah, it doesn't look too massive, it doesn't look too big, and in fact, it just looks like a regular midsize SUV. But when you approach this big boy right here, you'll see that, yes, this is a huge front mug. See, I'll show you how huge it is. Right now, I'm in Quezon City. Over here, I'm in Alabang. See? Two different zip codes. Anyway, pare, another design cue here that helps to break the visual mass of this front area would be the front skid plate that we have here. And I love that they painted the recovery hooks bright red. See? We have bright red recovery hooks here, which really pops out in this gorgeous front mug. I mean, wow, pare, ang ganda niya. I love it. I love this design. Alright, so over here on the side, you could see just how massive this full-size SUV is. I'm here up front, as I said, this is the Quezon City zip code. Now, I make my way towards the back, and I'm probably closer to the Santa Rosa, Laguna zip code at this area. I mean, pare, this is over 5.3 meters long. It is that massive. Now, dude, this Tahoe Z71 trim is the off-road version of the Chevy Tahoe, and dare I say, this is the best trim to get when you're driving around here in the Philippines. Now, why do I say that? Well, we have, of course, that massive length, so we have enough space inside for 8 American passengers or maybe 16 Filipino passengers who are on their way to a fiesta. Now, the Z71 trim also comes with off-road bits, mechanical bits here, so it would be quite easy to go to that fiesta even if it's located up in the mountains. Now, if you check out the wheels and tires of this Tahoe Z71, you'll see that we have 20-inch alloy wheels here that are wrapped in beefy all-season tires. I would even say that these are actually all-terrain tires. They're really off-roady, in fact. And we also have the blacked out Tahoe badge right here. And we also have the shark's fin antenna that is offset to the driver's side of the vehicle. Now, some of you might say that that's kind of weird, it's kind of sloppy, that we have the, the shark fin antenna not in the center or the rear part. But guys, there's a reason behind that. Hear me out, all right? I believe that Chevy intentionally put that there because we have functional roof rails here so that you can easily install a roof rack, a luggage rack up top, or even a rooftop tent. And this shark fin antenna will not get in the way. I mean, you could put crossbars there, you can mount surfboards up top, and this thing will not get in the way. So yes, there is a reason for that offset shark fin antenna. Now, if you look at the mechanical bits of this vehicle, we have four-wheel disc brakes here, of course, and it also rides on air suspension. Oh yes, so that means that you can lower or increase the ground clearance of this vehicle from as low as 205 millimeters to as high of around 250 millimeters. Another thing that I noticed here, guys, is, well, we have a huge Z71 badge right here in the front fender, which for me is, yeah, it's kind of off, right? I would have put this badge right here underneath the Tahoe badge or right beside it, or maybe, but anywhere else except this area, because yeah, it's kind of off-putting, Yeah, we have a Z71 badge up front. We really don't need that right there in the front fender, and not at that size, pare. So, while the cockpit of the Tahoe is spacious, the materials that they use here in the cabin isn't really what we will call plush. Keep in mind, this, my friends, is still just a regular SUV, a regular family-oriented SUV in the States, so we don't really get the plushness of the cabins found in, let's say, Korean or Chinese offerings. This, my friends, is a bit Spartan, it's a bit straightforward, but we do get most of the niceties that you would need to have a very comfortable drive. See, the power front seats here are of course wrapped in leather, and as I said, the leather really isn't that plush. And we only have a heating function here, we don't get ventilation. Now, for the price that they're asking for the Chevrolet Tahoe here in the Philippines, I would expect to get ventilated seats, but we don't get that. Now, the leather-wrapped steering wheel here is also a heated steering wheel. Again, another feature that we would hardly use here in the Philippines, but at least we do get power adjustments for your steering wheel. Oh yes, pare, look at that. So that's pretty good, pare. Now, I noticed here that Chevrolet decided to put most of the controls are on the dashboard area, all right here in front of the driver for easier access. Take the steering wheel, for example. We have, of course, the buttons here for your cruise control, for your infotainment system, and behind the wheel, we also have buttons for your audio controls for volume adjustment and whatnot. Now, on the left side of the steering wheel, we've got your buttons here for your air suspension modes. You can lift and lower the vehicle here, and we also have the four-wheel drive controls here because, of course, the Chevrolet Tahoe Z71 is a four-wheel drive vehicle. Now, we also have some buttons there for some of your safety bits, and on the right side of the steering wheel, we get your gear selector buttons and switches. Now, I mentioned buttons and switches here because, well, the park, neutral, and low gear buttons are buttons, and the reverse and the drive are switches, all right? Takes a little bit of getting used to at the start, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy to use. So we've got a gear selector there because, yeah, we don't have a gear shifter right here in the middle. Now, we have an infotainment system here. It's a touchscreen infotainment system that I believe is around 10.2 inches. Yeah, it's a 10.2-inch touchscreen infotainment system that comes with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, and the most important feature of all, we've got a 360-degree view camera image, and the quality is pretty good. Pare, this rivals the 360-degree view camera image found in, let's say, Chinese car offerings. It is that good, 4K levels. Now, I said this is the most important because, pare, I made use of this, more use of this than any of the vehicles that I've reviewed because of the size of this vehicle. I mean, I needed that to maneuver this vehicle around tight city streets. Now, when you go down from, this infotainment system also powers a Bose speaker setup, which is pretty darn good, pare. For a Bose, it sounds really good. Or probably because we have a cavernous cabin here, so it feels like I'm sitting inside an orchestra hall when I'm listening to music here because of the sheer air volume here inside the cabin. Now, moving from the infotainment system there, we also have a bunch of physical buttons and knobs here for your audio controls and your climate controls here, which I appreciate. I love that we have physical knobs and buttons here for your climate control system because yeah, I'm old school like that. Now we also have a wireless charging pad here, a Type-C and a Type-A USB charge port, a pair of cup holders, and a bunch of storage spaces here that will make any soccer mom happy. I mean, take the center console for example. Pare, we have this humongous center console here. It's really big. I'm gonna show you how big it is. Got my bag here. You can just drop that there. I got my water bottle here. It's pretty big also. Can just put that there. Got my cell phone. I got my sunglasses, and I have this tray right here. Can put that there, and I still have enough space there for maybe a small purse from the missus. It is that big. We have this part here. Of course, you got your glove box, and we have a small cubby right there on the dashboard. That's a felt-lined cubby in case you need to put like valuables like watches or earrings or necklaces or rings or stuff like that. It's there, and it has a little lock, in fact. Now, the only thing that's missing here inside this cabin would be an actual sunroof. And for the price that they're asking for the Chevrolet Tahoe Z71, dude, I'd expect to get a sunroof, but it is what it is. We don't get it. Now, what makes me happy here is the fact that the Chevrolet Tahoe Z71 comes with a complete set of driver assist aids. You see, given the size of this car and the size of our roads here in the Philippines, you'll definitely need all of the driver assist aids that you're now seeing on your screen. Which now takes me to a couple of weaknesses that this vehicle has. Top of the list would be, well, you guessed it, fuel economy. I thought that, you know, since this Chevrolet Tahoe is equipped with a more frugal Ecotech, well, it's still a V8 engine, I thought it would be a more frugal SUV when it comes to fuel economy, but nope, not the case, especially when you just drive around the city. You see, the best I got around the city, pare, 3.5 kilometers per liter around the city. I mean, there's no going around, it's bulk, it's a heavy SUV, and yeah, even if we have the start-stop function here, even if we have the active grille shutters, yeah, that's the best I got, 3.5 kilometers per liter. I would usually be around the 2.5 to 3 kilometers per liter level when I'm driving around the city. So yeah, that's something to expect. Now, around the highway, we're on the highway now, and if you have a very, very light foot and you don't have much load, you could go up to as much as 10 kilometers per liter on the highway. So yes, in that regard, on the highway, it is a more frugal V8 engine because, well, when I reviewed the Nissan Patrol Royale, best I did on the highway was around 6.5 kilometers per liter. So yes, 10 kilometers per liter, still good for such a massive vehicle with a V8 engine. Now, the second weakness of the Tahoe would be, again, I hope you guys guessed it, parking. Oh yes, man, when you're parking, especially around the city. Now, the first day I got this, I had to park this in our office basement. And dude, I'm telling you, it's the first car that I parked that I had to heavily rely on the 360-degree view camera image, the 2 security guards that we had in the basement parking area, and all of my parking skills that I've accumulated throughout my entire lifetime just to make sure that I get to park this vehicle without hitting the cars beside me. I mean, pare, it is massive. It is massive. And yeah, it barely fit in my condo parking area. And I'm not talking about the slot, I'm talking about the ramp, the entry and exit ramp of my condo. It barely fits. So yeah, it's a huge weakness if you're mostly driving around the city. Unfortunately, I do live in the city, so yeah, that's my reality. So yes, this tells me that the Chevrolet Tahoe is really more at home in wide open spaces outside a congested city like Manila. Now at this point, let's go and check out the back. Alright, so as I said a while back, yeah, the Tahoe's cabin is not plush. No, it's big, but it's not plush. And the same can be applied for the second row seats. I mean, as I said, it's big. Pare, we've got tons of space here. And literally, we have tons of space here in the second row. You can easily fit 3 full-size American adults or, yeah, maybe 6 Pinoy adults Here, you'll just have to share the seatbelt. Yes. So, yeah, the ride's not plush, but, well, it is spacious. Now, that's because we don't have a panoramic sunroof here, and we don't even have sunshades, I mean, window shades here at the back, so that's a bit of a bummer. Now, when it comes to the amenities, well, we just get the standard set. We have a third climate control system here with your ceiling mounted AC vents, a pair of cup holders there. We also have a center armrest here with another set of cup holders, and we have a pair of USB Type-C charge ports there. Now, space is a luxury here, and because of that, well, the ride is pretty comfortable despite the fact that this Chevrolet Tahoe rides on a truck chassis. Now, on smooth highways, it's really nice. But when you have some potholes and some imperfections here and there, the ride can get a little bit wavy, a little bit bouncy here and there, despite having the air suspension fitted in this Chevrolet Tahoe Z71. Now, that's because it's a big and heavy vehicle, so yeah, there's really no defying physics there. What I like though about this car is, on the highway, dude, it's so quiet. The NVH is fantastic. We may not have a panoramic sunroof. I think that's the reason why we have good NVH, because we don't have a big gaping hole on the roof. So yeah, the NVH is really, really good. It's quiet. You could easily relax here. If only we had massaging seats or ventilated seats here, but yeah, we don't get that. But anyway, NVH is good. Space is massive. So yeah, it's a straightforward full-size American SUV. And yeah, it does the job well. Now let's go to the third row seats. When it comes to the third row seats, well, this, my friends, is the largest third row seat in any SUV that I've tested out. I'm 5'6" and I've got ample space here. It feels like the third row seat of a minivan. I mean, it is that good. We've got a good amount of knee room here. Headroom is also very, very ample, and we also have a comfortable ride here at the back, even if you have 3 passengers here. That makes the Tahoe an actual 8-seater, a real 8-seater with 3 people here, and we are going to be comfortable here in the third row because we have ceiling-mounted AC vents there. We also have a pair of cup holders here on the side, and we also have USB Type-C charge ports right there on both sides. So yes, the gadgets will always be topped up. Now, some of you might wonder why we only have 2 headrests here. We don't have a third headrest for the center passenger. Well, I believe that's because a headrest in the center might impede the rearward visibility or vision of the driver when they're looking backwards. So yeah, I guess that's the reason why. Now, if you ever need to get out of the third row seats, well, when you need to get out of the third row seats, you can just push a button here, and yep, you can easily tumble it forward and you can easily get out of the third row area. Hanep. Here at the back, the Chevy Tahoe's rear glass can be opened independently by popping a button here. There you go. And when you do that, it gives you easy access into your cargo area in case you're on a family picnic, on a camping trip, or even on a day at the beach. Now, the power liftgate here is also a smart power liftgate with a kick function, but since I don't have the key with me, so I'm a cameraman, so I'm just gonna pop it open like that. And once we have this open, guys, with the third row seats deployed, I mean, you're using the third row seats, we still have around 700 liters of cargo capacity here. Now, what does that mean? That means that I can take my large piece of luggage here and I can put that standing up right there. And we can put a second large piece of luggage here for a maximum of 2 with the third row seats deployed. I mean, pare, no other vehicle can do that except for a van. Yeah, but no other SUV can do that. Oh yes, man. Now, the good thing here is if you need more space than 700 liters, we have automatic buttons here to fold down your third row seats there. And it folds quickly, in fact. And once you have that folded, you now have access to cargo space that is over 2,000 liters. Pare, ganyong kalaki. Wow, 2,000 liters. So that means that with the third row seats folded, we can put, I don't even know, man, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, around 6 pieces of large luggage. So that's what, good enough for a shopping trip with a missus, I guess? Yeah? Now, if you need to transport large items, larger stuff. You can also fold down the second row area. There you go. And it folds flat, which means that you can put a mattress here inside. It's that big. You can put a mattress. You can actually lie down inside, put a mattress there and lie down inside and do car camping inside your car instead of mounting it on the roof. I mean, pare, it's that huge. That's one of the advantages of the Chevrolet Tahoe Z71. Now, if you're looking for the spare tire, you can find a donut spare tire underneath the cargo area here at the back. All right? Woo! Ang laki! The Chevrolet Tahoe Z71 may not be the most practical full-size SUV to drive in the Philippines, but for those who prioritize size, space, and off-road capability in one package, nothing else can compare. You also get the added bonus of making a statement wherever you go because of its relative exclusivity. So while logic will dictate that the Tahoe Z71 is simply too big and too thirsty for Philippine roads, the emotional kick of driving a vehicle that defies logic and commands everyone's attention may be more than enough to override our logical brains. Car buying is, after all, a highly emotional decision. Thanks for watching.